Howdy folks, I am very happy at long last to be able to announce the winner in the first category of my 100,000 subscriber World of Tanks replay contest, the tier 1 to 4 tanks. So what you're going to see today is a selection of the highest scoring damage dealing games, which were also the most entertaining of the highest scoring damage dealing games, and then the guy who did the most damage, which luckily also happens to be a damn entertaining game to watch as well. Now the replays that you're about to see are from guys who not only did a metric butt ton of damage in the true spirit of the contest, but they also managed to actually follow the rules for submitting their entries into the contest, and they were pretty simple. Play a game, patch 8.6 or later. Upload that replay, don't email it to me, to worldoftanksreplays.com, send me the link to the replay. And I did choose those rules specifically because it was the only practical way, with the amount of submissions I knew I was going to get, it was the only practical way to filter the results in time to actually present the prizes before I ended up having to do a 150,000 subscriber giveaway. But enough boring talk about following the rules. You came here to see the games, and the games is what you're going to get. What you're going to see now is a selection of the most entertaining of the most damage dealt games, followed by the winner who actually did the most damage in the tier 1 to 4 category and is going to walk away with their choice of package from their regional gift shop, whether that be a tier 8 premium tank or just a metric butt ton of gold, credits, premium account time and consumables. The choice is theirs. Well, we're going to kick off the proceedings with Maximus 359 in the worst tank in the game. Here he is in his M3 Lee. You knew there was going to be a Lee in here somewhere. And Maximus, well, he didn't really even come close to doing the most damage. But just the fact that he managed to do this in a Lee, I thought was worth showing. Tier 4 game. Tier 4 medium tank. Even a Lee can do reasonably well in a game like this. Look at all those tier 4 tank destroyers. This can be a tough game for a Lee. He's charging right into the thick of the battle here. Oh, takes a bounce from a B1. Unloads his 75mm gun into him twice. Does a good amount of damage. 215 damage done so far. Sees the threat on the flank. HETZER coming around. Now this is not a terrible position for a Lee, because of the sponson on the gun mounted on the right hand side of the tank. Coming around a left hand corner is actually a fairly favourable position, but you know, as you see, he can still be penetrated. Kills the B1. Pretty much soloed that guy. Waiting for this HETZER to fire. Pops one into his lower plate, backs off, reloads. AMX-40 gets a kill. Oh my god, what's going on? Lees? AMX-40's getting kills? Surely not. Hello, Mr. Lux. Oh, badly. Leave the Lux alone. Lux is using the 50mm gun. Shouldn't be, because it sucks. Now he's just going to feast on these little tier 3s. Oh, Amaraks him. There's another one. And he sets him on fire, just to add insult to injury. M8 tank destroyer. Oh, gets a good flanking shot into him, but the M8 hits him and knocks his engine out. Uses his repair kit to get that back up. He's done 1700 damage. Oh, watch this shot on the HETZER. Through the window, he's not even going to aim it. See this? That was classic. Right, this M8's just run out of friends. It's not looking very good for him. I don't know why that Electo didn't stop, turn around and shoot him, but there you go. Gets an unlucky bounce there. Down to 77 health. There we go. Gets the kill. 2 Matildas left on the enemy team. You're going to... And now he needs to do some damage to these Matildas, because there aren't that many tanks on his team that are capable of actually hurting these things, as you're going to see in one of the next replays. But 34 health. He's got 7 kills already. He's done 2,048 damage. The Matilda's spotted him. Gets 1 shot into him. Gets another shot into him. Gets a 3rd shot into him. and that ends his adventure. 2,379 damage done in a tier 4 tank, but it's enough for his team to win. Quite comfortably. HETZER behind the Matilda. Matilda's on 9 health. Yeah, that's never going to end well. Game over. Well, there's his results screen. And from watching the game itself, you might not have thought that it was actually that impressive. But that's 95,000 credits, with no special event bonus thrown in. That's just from the raw damage that he actually did in that game. And 2,000 XP, undoubled. Top Gun, Sniper. He did more damage in that game. Well, he did 600 more damage in that game than the rest of his team combined. That's pretty impressive. And so I felt that somebody doing that well in Lee was worth showing you. But if you thought that was impressive, and it was pretty impressive, you ain't seen nothing yet. Wait until you see some of these games. So, okay, we've got the comedy replay out of the way. That was the Lee. Next up we have a Matilda. This is Domnanos in his Matilda, tier 4 British medium tank. Ridiculously well armoured little tank at tier 4, and not badly armoured at tier 5. Tier 4 maximum game. He's here on the Mountain Pass map, and this is one of those games that, well, not only does he do a metric butt ton of damage, not only does one of the first people on his team to die, of which there are many, start complaining about noob team and, oh my god, you in the Matilda, you're a retard. But if this game doesn't make 10,000 of you rush out and buy a Matilda overnight, then you guys have got no soul. So you'll see what I mean. You'll know the moment when it happens. It's going to be hard to miss. So Domnanos he was going to head the one way, and then he realised that absolutely nobody was going up the back road on the glacier other than an L2P. L2P? An LTP, yeah. And so he thought, well, you know what, Matilda, tough little tank, I can probably help hold this back road. Now, they've lost one tank already. T82 is complaining about his team practically before the game's even started. They've just lost another 2 tanks. Oh, and there goes another one. Losing 4-0, and he hasn't even seen anything to shoot at yet. So there's a Panzer 1C and an LTP down there. Oh, more targets. Well, shoot at the ones you can see, rather than the ones that you have to expose yourself to see. So you put some damage into that medium 3. And they're losing more tanks, and the T82 is still complaining, even though, you know, he was one of the first ones to die. Now at this point you're probably thinking, well, why is he sitting here? Why isn't he just going forward and killing these guys? What I think is happening is he's having a look at that map and getting a very, very, very bad feeling. You can see him starting to pull back here. What he's actually doing, he's shortening his defensive line, because he knows exactly how slow the Matilda is. He's trying to tell that LTP there to fall back. He knows they're losing. They're 8-0 down. He knows he's going to have to fight off half the enemy team. And he's going to have to go back to reset the cap. The dead T82 diver is still telling everybody that they're noobs. Oh, we finally managed to kill something. Okay, that's good. That's nice. And now we're losing 2-9. That LTP doesn't want to fall back. Domnanos is pulling back so he can cover the back road and still be able to take shots at these guys who are going to be rushing around into the cap at any second. Now the thing about the Matilda is it's monstrously well armoured for a tier 4. Now there are other tier 4 tanks that are especially well armoured at that tier, tanks like the AMX-40, but the difference between the AMX-40 and the Matilda is the Matilda gets a gun that can actually kill the AMX-40. And yes, they are losing 212. That little gun on the Matilda with the Little John adapter gives it over 100 penetration, and it's low damage, but it's rapid rate of fire, it's reasonably accurate, and it's a fast aiming time. You can see him checking behind him there, because he knows he's going to have to fight it out in the cap circle any second now. Now, I keep mentioning that the Matilda has very tough armour. You're not going to believe this. There they go. They're in the cap circle. Now, the Matilda has pretty tough armour all around. I'm pulling back to an external camera view here, just so you can see the scale of the carnage that is about to erupt. T82 driver, calling him and the LTP driver complete noobs. Bold words for the third guy to get killed in the game. He's now completely alone against 13 enemy tanks. Just watch this. There's his first kill. There's his second kill. He's going to have to nail that M2 medium. He's firing a 75mm howitzer at him. He's the only one who's actually doing any damage so far. This is just unbelievable. He's got that AMX-40 right in his ass, and the AMX-40's done no damage to him, other than blow his tracks off. There's his fourth kill. There's his fifth kill. There's Top Gun. Seven kills. Oh look, his tracks are back up. 8 kills. Excuse me. Can we make it 9? We can make it 9. 4 enemy tanks left. 1 tier 4 artillery and 3 tier 3s. And if that isn't enough to make 10,000 people rush out and buy a tier 4 Matilda overnight, you guys have got no souls. And yeah, you could argue that there wasn't any particular massive amount of well-played, skillful tank driving there. You'd be wrong. But to a large part, of course, it was just the fact that he was driving a Matilda, and none of those guys had a clue where to shoot him. A lot of them just couldn't penetrate him. But he took full... Look at him there. Yeah, angled my armour. Yeah. I don't really think it was about the armour angling. I think it was just about the thickness of the armour. If all those guys had switched to high explosive, they might have killed you. But is this tank a little bit overpowered at tier 4? In a tier 4 game? Yeah, I think maybe. And of course, now, this is the crunch moment. Now what are you going to do? Because this is a slow medium tank. If you head for the enemy cap, you could be halfway there. They could start capping you. There wouldn't be anything you could do about it. There's just under 6 minutes of the game left. He might make it to the enemy base. He decides, screw it, I'm going to do it. He's going for it. He's got time to get to the enemy base, but it's a massive chance. They get one tank into his cap circle. Oh, there's the artillery. He clutches his first shot and misses. Artillery lands a monster big hit on him, takes his tracks off. Can he finish him off? Yes, he can. 11 kills. Uses a first aid kit, gets his driver back up. Driving a Matilda with a dead driver is a painful experience. So, yeah, he's decided to abandon his rush for the enemy base. There's 5 minutes of the game left. He could probably get there in time, but if the enemy team started to cap, there is just no way he would be able to get back and do anything about it. 2 tier 3s left. I'm not sure what one of them is. One of them's a Stuart. Neither of them can hurt him. Screw it, let's go for a drive. Down to less than a minute. There's an LTP and an M3 Stuart hiding out there somewhere. Chances are the Stuart's been AFK the entire game. We'll check that out in the post-battle results screen. We'll see if he's ever actually done anything. Oh, there's the LTP. And he seems to be stuck. He's been there the entire time. And that's pretty much it, because we don't see that Stuart for the entirety of the game. He was never spotted. Probably AFK the entire match. So that ended up being a draw. And disappointing result, but, well, there he is. The Stuart driver basically did nothing. Drove 700 metres, then stopped, and went AFK for the rest of the game. Didn't even fire his gun once. So another miserable result, purely because of an AFK driver on the enemy team. So disappointing. But what a fight. And I'm not sitting here trying to claim that Domnanos drove his Matilda like a boss. He didn't make any mistakes. But I don't think it was down to how well he drove the Matilda in that one, if we're going to be completely honest. He didn't drive it badly. I think it's just down to the fact that he was driving a Matilda. And it's got such incredibly troll armour at tier 4. Most of those tanks that he was up against couldn't penetrate him. Some of them could, but they just failed utterly. The M2 medium was firing the 75mm howitzer. If he just fired high explosive shells at him, he was the only one who damaged him anyway, but for some reason he stopped firing high explosive and backed off and stopped shooting at him altogether. The HETZER failed utterly. The Electo could have killed him and didn't. And once he dealt with them, there was just nobody there who could hurt him. So, yeah, not too bad. Not too bad at all. It's just a shame the way it ended. It's worth pointing out, by the way, just in case you're interested in the numbers, the Matilda has something like 370 health. 8,500 potential damage received in a tier 4 medium. I've driven tier 10 heavy tanks and taken that much damage and thought, oh, I did pretty well there. Yeah, I can see a lot of people going out and buying one of these things over the course of the next few days after watching this video. It is a great little tank. I love it to bits. I think it's fantastic. Anyway, next replay. Let the fun continue. Okay, so we've gotten the novelty games out of the way. We've got the M3 Lee doing well, which nobody expected to see. We've got the Matilda that they couldn't kill. And both of them, you know, they were both well-played games. They both did a butt-ton of damage. But now we're getting to the guys that actually, in the tier 1 to 4 category, did the most damage of all. And I'm very, very happy. I mean, we knew there was going to be a HETZER in here somewhere. There had to be. This is Kitaristas. I believe he's a Hungarian player, but I could be wrong. Not that it matters. He's in his HETZER with the 105mm derp gun. Yes, he is using some premium ammunition. Yes, he does have the 105mm derp gun. Yes, that is his first kill. But he's using his armor piercing first. He's got 10 rounds of armor piercing, 7 rounds of premium, 3 rounds of high explosive. And it's not unusual to see HETZER drivers with the 105mm using some premium. And you know what? I don't care. Because watch this. That was his first kill, okay? Just prepare to be amazed. There's his second kill. Now he is going to use premium ammunition in this game. Because he's going to run out of armor piercing. In fact, I'm not even going to say any more. Just watch this. And more importantly, watch that they are down 5 tanks and he is the only person on his team to have killed anybody yet. It's another one of those teams. And now they're down 6 tanks. It's going to get worse before it gets better. There's his third kill. HETZER doesn't actually have a very large ammo capacity, not for the 105mm gun. There's a T-40 around the corner who appears to have just fired, so he side scrapes around the wreck, places his shot. There's his 4th kill. They've lost 7 tanks. He's still the only person on his team to have killed anything. Comes around the corner, takes a hit, just damages his tracks. There's his 5th kill. There's 2 of them here now. LTPs from the front, they're never going to penetrate a HETZER. There's his top gun. They've lost 9 tanks. Rams that LTP, tries to take his tracks off while he reloads. Ends up not needing to. There's his 7th kill. They've lost 10 tanks. He's still the only person on his team to kill anybody. Two fresh victims in front of him. And that actually bounced off the side of the LTP, if you can believe it. Oh, there's a Lee. He needs to kill the Lee. The Lee actually has a dangerous gun, so wisely he doesn't farm the easy kill on the LTP. He takes the Lee out first, because he can reload at his leisure to kill this guy. There's his 9th kill. They are down 11 tanks. He is still the only person on his team to have killed anybody. There's a Matilda, dangerous target, not anymore. Now, why couldn't the HETZER in the last game do that? Ten kills, 1,500 damage done. That was unlucky. And in a rare moment of sportsmanship, there's his 11th kill, by the way, an LTP driver on the enemy team is actually offering him his congratulations. Now, there's only 2 of them left. They've lost 13 tanks, and he is still the only person on his team to have killed anybody. Stewart's gotten behind him. There's his 12th kill. That's a one-man crucial contribution right there. And they're capping, which is dumb, because it's just announced exactly where they are. Somebody's running for it. Possibly he wasn't actually capping, he was just driving through the cap circle. 3 of them left. 1 artillery, 1 HETZER, who has 3 kills, and a Panzer III, who has 2 kills. $2,006 damage done. And we're playing catchy, chasey, kissy with the Panzer III. And a HETZER who has just nailed their M3. So he's now alone. So there's him against the 3 remaining tanks on the enemy team. There's the Panzer III, there's the HETZER. The HETZER hits him and it does nothing. He's using premium ammo now, by the way, because he's got nothing left. He's used all his armor piercing. His tracks are gone, gets his tracks back up. He was waiting to see if he could get his tracks back up naturally, but it would have been taking too long. He didn't want to let that Panzer III get around him. And suddenly, he's on 14 kills. He's done 2,360 damage. And it's just him versus enemy artillery. This is epic. Just unbelievable. Well, now, enemy artillery is not AFK. They have 1 kill. And you can't get too cocky in circumstances like this, because he's down to 88 health and 1 high explosive shot is all it's going to take to wipe him out. And can you imagine losing a game like this? 14 kills, 2,360 damage done at tier 4, and then you lose. You just have to kill yourself. That would be it. You would not be allowed to play World of Tanks again after a result like that. So I'm going to speed things up here. You can see he doesn't just drive straight the way across the map to where the Stone Panzer was spotted. We just enlarge the map slightly for you. Instead, he takes the scenic route, and he's using every single available piece of cover to try to mask his approach, because he has no idea where that guy is. He could be rushing for the cap, he could be camping his own base, he doesn't know. So he's going to drive around, going the long way, using every available piece of cover, every bush, every piece of concealment he can see. He's looking for all the usual artillery hiding spots. Normally I'd say just look for the nearest open stretch of water and you'll find him there with a drowned crew. But you can't do that on Ruinberg. Oh. Takes it a bit slow and easy here, coming around the corner. Artillery does like to camp amongst these houses hidden in the bushes. And this is the dangerous part. This is where things get hairy, because he's used every piece of concealment he can to get this far, but then there's this open stretch of ground that he has to cross, and Artie could be camping in any one of those bushes. And he's not there. Huh. Where the hell is he? Let's speed things up again. There's still 5 minutes left on the clock. You know, he has time to find this guy. Stops, checks both ways. There is a little alcove just up there. If you're looking for the last tank left alive on the enemy team, right there, you can see it just after the blue post box, but he's close enough now that if anybody was hiding in there, he would have spotted him. So he's not hiding there either. So, where the hell is he? You see him there in chat. Oh, yoo-hoo! Come out, wherever you are. Come on, little Artie, I ain't gonna hurt you. I'm gonna kill you, but I promise you it won't hurt. So he's basically just circled the entire map. And there he is. Oh, and that is a monumentally stupid move. You don't cap when it's one-on-one. Now he knows where you are. And you have no... And look at him in chat. I can imagine him rubbing his hands together like Mr. Burns from The Simpsons. Excellent. Release the hounds, Smithers. Now I know where you are. You have no idea which angle I'm going to come from. And... there he is. And that is kill number 15. 2,550 damage done. Well, I promised you were going to see some special games. Holy shit, man, look at that. 15 kit. That's the one and only Razanai Heroes Award game I have ever seen. I mean, I knew it was potentially possible, but I've never seen one until now. And personally, I think it's a crime that he only earned 42,000 credits out of that one. But 2,700 XP. Undoubled. There it is. The Razanai Heroes Medal, as well as Huntsman and Top Gun, and of course, Sniper. But, wow. And again, damage done compared to the rest. This is the sort of team makeup that you need to get that kind of result in a game. You need your team to suck, but you need the enemy team also to suck, just not quite as much as your team sucks. And those sort of circumstances, that's where it's possible. Not likely, but possible to get that kind of result. 17 shots fired, 17 hits, 15 penetrations, 2,500 damage. Took 16 hits. Survived. Potential damage received, 880 in a HETZER. 15 enemies damaged, 15 enemies destroyed. He actually also got some spot and damage out of that. And look at the distance travelled, 4.42 kilometres. That's pretty impressive in a map that's only a kilometre across. And that was not the most damage done. Although it's probably the most impressive game, but it is not the most damage done in the tier 1 to 4 category in this contest. Everybody said a HETZER was going to be the one to win. Well, he didn't win, but he certainly entertained us. We still have 2 more games to show you, one of which is going to be the winner. Now here is a tank that most of you probably didn't expect to see in this roundup. This is Apache 1990 from the North American server, and he is driving his T28, and he is using the 57mm gun. It's the 57mm ZIS-4 gun, the same gun that you get on the T34, and to all intents and purposes the same gun that you get on the Type T34. Now this tank is pretty fast, but it's not exactly overburdened with armour. Generally speaking, T28s that get shot at are T28s that take damage. It used to have an 85mm gun a few patches back. That got removed, and the 85mm gun basically made this tank a one-shot wonder. What used to happen was you would take your shot, get spotted, and then die, but that shot would do a lot of damage. Well, it doesn't get that 85mm gun anymore, and I think that actually was good for the tank, because this 57mm is lethal, especially on a tier 4 machine. And that was pretty much the T28's thing. It's a crap tank. It really is incredibly bad, but it always had a good gun. It doesn't have the 85mm anymore, but it's still got a good gun, this 57mm, as you can see. He's already done 673 damage. And it's kind of like the gun on the Matilda, in that it doesn't do any real alpha damage, but the DPM is really, really good. It's got a slow aiming time, but the accuracy, once you're aimed, is very good. And the rate of fire is absolutely astronomical. Now, things aren't going too badly so far. They're losing, but they're only 1 tank down. Scores are 2-3. Unfortunately, 2 of the 3 that we've lost are our tier 5s. He's blazing away. He knows that T... There we go. He's basically just... And this is one of the things that you can do with this gun, because it fires so fast. Somebody's behind cover, just shoot his cover away. And that's exactly what he did there in order to nail the T40. There's his first kill. Done 837 damage. SU-85 spotted. You see, the aiming time isn't fantastic, but once you're aimed in, the aiming time pretty much matches your reload. When you start shooting at people with this gun, they tend to ignore you at first if they have other things to shoot at. But that damage, there we go, he's killed the SU-85. There's another one. The damage this gun puts out mounts up very, very, very quickly. Okay, they've lost track of that other SU-85. He hasn't actually taken any hits yet. In case you're not keeping track of the scores, by the way, it just went horribly, horribly wrong. They're now losing 5-10. His team's tier 5s are just failing miserably. Oh, there's the Su-85. Watch this. This is just like a pro. He just humiliated that Su-85 driver. Takes a hit from a Lee. That's dangerous. The Lee's gun isn't bad. He's angling his armour as best he can, but if that Lee hits him, it's going to go through whether he's angled or not. Stops to take a few more speculative shots at the Lee's last known position, but he's nailed the Su-85 now. The Su-85 isn't spotting him anymore, so he relocates. They started to pull the scores back a little. They're now losing 8-10. The remaining tier 5s moving up to try and get stuck into the enemy team. AFK T40 in the base, finish him off because he may be AFK, but he can still report your position. There's the Lee. T46 desperately trying to reverse. Looked like he was coming back in order to, don't know what he was hoping to do, but anyway, he's dead. 2,078 damage done. Things are starting to look a lot more even now. And what we've got here is the survivors on his team doing something that you never see in random battles. They're sticking together. They're not all rushing off in opposite directions. They're not camping hard in the forest and waiting for the enemy team to come to them while one of them goes out and dies. They're working together. You never see this happen in random battles. T14. Tough tank. Not for this 57mm gun. The HETZER, the T1 Heavy, and Apache in his T28, they're all sticking together. They're all focusing their fire on one target at a time. There's only 2 of them left. Very soon there's only going to be 1. 2,405 damage done. And this is so dumb. When T28 driver on the enemy team trying to cap with 4 enemy tanks still in play and you're the last one alive. I don't think that's going to work, son. I think they might know where you are now. And at this stage, with the amount of health he has remaining, I don't think he really cares whether he takes a hit or not, because he's going to win this fight. Now, the amount of damage done, reported by XVM at the top of the screen there, 2,725, that's actually deceptive. Because in-game, XVM will only report the damage that it has seen you doing. Any shots that you fired blind at targets that are no longer visible, XVM doesn't detect. What he actually did, as well as getting 5 kills and the Confederate medal, was 2,916 damage in a tier 4 medium tank with no armour whatsoever in a tier 5 game. That is just hellishly impressive. I mean, that's 3,000 damage. I drive tier 10 tanks, do 3,000 damage and think I've had a good game. That is ridiculous. 54 shots fired, 42 hits, 39 penetrations, 2,916 damage. And you know what? Not good enough to win this contest, because coming up next, my commiserations, by the way, Apache 1990, spectacularly well played game. Not good enough to win, however. Coming up next, the winner. Ladies and gentlemen, I am very happy to present Monk from the Southeast Asian server. He's from Australia. In a platoon with his buddy Siggy over here, both of them in Su-85Bs. Russian tier 4 tank destroyer. And yep, that is a KV-1S. This is a tier 6 game. The enemy team have a KV-1S, a T-150, a Sherman EZ-8, and then there's the tier 5s, the KV-1, T-1 Heavy, T-34, S-35CA, Su-85. This is a distinctly unhealthy environment in which to be a tier 4 tank destroyer. Not only that, his team are absolute Muppets. Watch this KV-1S driver in particular. Where are you going? What are you doing over here? The heavies are that way. What? I don't even... Really? And now the T-40 just starts firing random shots into the cap circle because, you know, he's a T-40 driver. And nobody's gone into the town. The only people we've gone up north are a Stug and a Panzer IV. Actually, 2 Panzer IVs. This is not going to end well. And here come the enemy heavy tanks. KV-1S is still running the wrong way. T-40 decides to just drive off across the middle of the field because, you know, T-40 driver. T-40 is not completely useless to us, however, because he is at least going to spot, while he remains alive, all of those enemy tanks for us, like that KV-1S. Now, Monk does have premium ammunition, but he doesn't do what I do and just spams it at everything. He actually uses it sensibly. He's using his armor piercing at first. He's going to switch to high explosive when he spots a couple of thinly armored targets. He uses his ammunition wisely. T-40's not quite dead yet, but don't worry, it's only a matter of time. There he goes. Now, I'm just going to pause things at this part of the proceedings and draw your attention to the map. Siggy and Monk, in their Tier 4 tank destroyers, are now alone against 5 enemy heavy tanks. Right, including the Tier 6 enemy heavy tanks, a T-150 and a KV-1S, and 2 enemy Tier 5 tank destroyers. Tier 5? No, 1 Tier 5 and 1 Tier 4. So there's 7 tanks, including practically all of their Tier 6s and Tier 5s, against 2 Tier 4 tank destroyers. Watch this. Now there's nobody spotting for them. His first shot at the T1 heavy misses. That was a well-aimed shot. T1 heavy obviously knows which direction he's being fired from, so he turns his front, which is actually quite a sensible move, but then he gets his tracks blown off, uses a repair kit, gets them back up, gets them blown off again. And he's dead. Monk's got AP loaded for this S-35. He fires, it bounces, he reloads high explosive. One high explosive shot left. And he nails it. Now a T-40, and he's been spotted. You can see him juking around there trying to put the T-40's aim off, but it's more important to kill him. Artillery starts taking pot shots at them. And now here come all the Tier 6 and 5 heavy tanks. There's the T-150. Shot at the side, bounces. That was a useful shot. Blew his tracks off and did a butt ton of damage. And then Siggy finishes him off. Now this KV-1... The KV-1S, by the way, has just abandoned these guys to their fate and run off. KV-1's had his tracks blown off. He's aiming at Siggy. He's killed Siggy. We're going to get our revenge, though. Don't you worry, Siggy. Come on, one more. One more. He's down to APCR ammo now, because that's all he's got left. He's fired everything else. He's just done 2,000 damage in a Tier 4 tank destroyer, alone with his platoon mate, against 5 enemy heavy tanks, including 2 Tier 6s and 2 enemy tank destroyers. Holy shit. But that's not the best part of the game. Trust me. Just you wait. Now, the rest of his team couldn't find their arse in the dark without a flashlight and written instructions, and even then they'd struggle. We've got a 3.6 or 1H. over there. It's one of our tier 6s. We've got a Matilda over here, our artillery. And a T-80 down there who's just... Well, he's just a... you know, he's a T-80. What's he going to do? Doing the best he can, but pinned, in position, spotted. And there's a KV-1S and a Sherman. There we go. Just destroyed him. Now, Su-85 actually made the kill there. That's interesting. That means there's an Su-85 able to shoot down into the valley. So he's got to be over here somewhere. And Monk's going looking for that KV-1S. But when you get a shot like this at the side of an Su-85, I mean, you know, it's rude not to. There's his third kill. 2,328 damage done. And now that Easy 8 has managed to break through into their base. But, you know, hey, that's alright. There's a Matilda and a Sternpanzer. Surely Monk isn't going to have to go back and actually deal with the cap as well. Yes, of course he is. Note that while this is going on, the 361H is still trying to cap the enemy base when they're outnumbered 4-1 and they're about to be capped themselves. Now watch this. Takes one shot at the Easy 8. He's spotted. Get the hell out of there. 148 health. You don't have the armour. Their T-80 and their Easy 8 are both going for the cap. So he pulls back, gets out of line of sight, breaks contact. And instead of popping up again in the same shot and just taking a pre-aimed 76mm shell in the face, he moves somewhere else. Somewhere where he can still cover the cap circle. And instead of going for the easy kill on the T-80, he's concentrating his fire on the Easy 8 in order to remove the amount of guns firing back at him. Now he's removed himself from the line of fire of the KV-1S and the Easy 8, and there's only the T-80 able to fire at him from this position. There's his fourth kill. 2,865 damage done. To be fair to the 361H driver, he realises that he's onto a loser here by trying to cap, and he's coming back as fast as he can. But Siggy is saying to him, look, cap now, I'll reset the cap. You know, the guy's having none of it. He's coming back to fight it out. You notice that Easy 8 is looking the wrong way. He's still concentrating on Siggy being in the last known position, but Siggy's not that stupid. Again, he takes a shot in. Again, he resets the cap. Again, he repositions. He gets himself into cover. And you can see he's second-guessing these enemy tanks. And now they're not in the cap circle anymore. So that means they're coming after him. Yep, here they come. They're coming up the hill. He's been spotted again. But that's all right, because now he has given their positions away to the 361H driver, who's putting flanking fire into the Sherman. He's trying to tell the 361H driver to, you know, get back there waiting for you to come, but now that there are two of them, they're effectively forcing these guys to split their fire. And he takes full advantage of it. The second the KV-1S turned his turret the other way around, he just jumped on him. 5 kills, 3,245 damage done. In a tier 4 tank destroyer, in a tier 6 game. And there's his battle results screen. Defender, sniper, 48,000 credits earned, 2,000, nearly 3,000 experience. Undoubled. That is just amazing. Look at that. He got almost 4 times as much XP as the next best player on his team. And the damage done was just off the charts. I mean, seriously, I do that amount of damage in a tier 10 match, and I think, yeah, I've had a pretty good game. That's tier 4 in a tier 6 game. It's unbelievable. I never thought. I mean, everybody assumed that there was just going to be a HETZER with a 105mm gun firing premium ammo that won the tier 1 to 4 section of this contest. Never in your wildest dreams would you have thought it was going to be an Su-85B. Although the Matilda would do so well, or that a T28 would do so well. And I think that's fantastic. I just love seeing you defy people's expectations. So Monk wins the tier 1 to 4 category of the 100,000 subscriber replay contest. You win a tier 8 premium tank of your choice. Now, I know that the patch 8.8 is about to go live, certainly on the Russian server, and then within a couple of days on the EU server, and then probably slightly after that, the Southeast Asian server, which you play on. So if you want to hold your prize until those 2 new Chinese tier 8 premiums come out, then by all means, just let me know. I'll be emailing you and asking you to confirm which prize you want. But tier 8, and it doesn't have to be a tier 8 premium. You know, the choice is there. If you want a tier 8 premium, you can have a tier 8 premium. If you want a, whatever tank in the game that is available in the gift shop on your server, let me know. I'll buy it for you. Well done. Highly entertaining game. Expertly well played SU-85B. Coming up next, we're going to be looking at the tier 5 and 6 category winners, and everybody was saying it was going to be a KV-1S that won that one. Is it? Maybe, maybe not. We shall see. Hope to see you for the second prize winner, tier 5 to 6, in the next video I upload on the channel. As always, folks, take care on that battlefield. Thank you for subscribing, and I'll catch you next time.